Hello everyone, it's been so long since I've posted a video on here, but sorry about that, various things. If you don't know already, my Minecraft mod Simicraft is now open source, so other people can work on it. There's a couple of people that I know are working on it at the moment, but they've not actually got a release yet because it's not fully working. But yeah, two people I definitely know working on it, and there might be more. As soon as I get any more information, I'll just post it on Facebook and Twitter and the homepage. I might even make a video just showing you any new versions. So I've got a little announcement. About a year ago, I was still making Simicraft at the time. I started playing around, like making my own game. It was sort of based on Simicraft, sort of, but with influences from other games as well. I sort of worked on it on and off. You know, when Minecraft bring out a new version, you then have to wait for Forge to come out. So while I was waiting, I was just playing around, trying to make my own game. So I didn't really put much effort into it, just working on it on and off every so often. Anyway, I recently got back into writing it, adding more stuff to it, and actually turning it into an actual playable game. And it's getting there. It's still got a long way to go, but it could turn into an actual game. So it's a sort of space colony strategy sort of game. You may have played that sort of thing before. I guess like the Towns, but in space, or there's a couple of other indie games. So it's set on a flat, barren sort of desert planet, and you start off with 4 colonists and just a few supplies. And you play the part of the colony leader, who is an android, which I'll get into in a bit. Your task is to just keep the colonists alive. They'll need a supply of water to drink and to water the plants. They'll need a supply of food. And once you've got that, they'll generally stay alive if they don't get hit by a meteorite or something, because these meteorites fall from the sky. So then you can sort of like gather resources by mining those meteorites. So they're sort of like a curse and a blessing. They may fall on your house or one of your colonists or something, but you can also mine them for all sorts of resources, stone and ores, coal, things like that. So you mine these meteorites out and gather the resources, and then use them to craft them into better and better things. So sort of like a Minecraft influence with the like building better and better things, but certainly not. It's not a Minecraft clone by any stretch of the imagination. So you start off with basic mechanical machines like a hand crank pump to pump up water from underground, so you've got something to drink. And you gradually upgrade them over time, making more and more advanced machines. So as well as all the machinery, I've got all the aspects of my mod regarding relationships in it as well. So they'll have kids and all that sort of thing. Also other people will crash on the planet, and you can decide whether to just loot their stuff, or you can nurse them back to health and make them part of the colony. So before I show you what I've got so far, I should say it's still very much in the alpha stage of development, which comes before beta. So it means like there's a whole bunch of stuff that hasn't even been written, so it's not everything's there. It's just like basics of the game mechanics set up and running, but there's still a heck of a lot of stuff to do with regard to the actual gameplay. It's certainly not ready to be tested yet. It's got a long way to go before that. So I'll just load up the test world and just show you what I've got so far. So here we are in the world. It's set on a kind of flat desert barren planet with no resources whatsoever. So you only get what you bring with you, which is only a few bits and bobs. So you don't have any of this. This is the stuff that I've made so far. So as you can see, I've kept the same Simicraft style characters. This one here looks a bit like Peter Griffin, only a thinner version, but they're a bit more high def. I thought to keep with that because they're easier to model and they're easy to animate, so I can concentrate more on the game itself rather than the characters. I think they look really cool anyway. So you start off with only a few resources. This is the stockpile. As you can see, I've got quite a bit now, but you start off with like just about 3 crates full of stuff, and you access it using this terminal. As you can see, lots of stuff. But yeah, you start off with just a few basics just to get you going. You've got to find a supply of water and obviously food to keep the colonists alive, so they need water and food. This shows you what I've got in this particular stockpile. You can have multiple stockpiles as well, and different sizes and things. So it shows you the list of what each item is, and a little bit of information about what they are here, how much you've got of each thing, and other things you can do is pick certain things up, like this stone oven. I can pick that up and place it somewhere. But as the list gets bigger and bigger, you can use these filters just to kind of filter things out a bit, so that shows food. You also notice here you've got food 4 days old, apple 3 days old. So the food actually rots or goes off after so many days. So you can't just like make a whole bunch of food and you're set for life. You have to continuously make new food, but not too much of it, otherwise it just rots and you're wasting your time. So you'll need water as well. There's this underground water that you can pump up. But again, it's limited, so you need to like move the pump to somewhere where there's more water. This one is like tools and things, like a stone pick. There's 3 types of pick for mining. I'll show you those in a minute. Seeds, just 2 types of seed at the moment. So you'll be able to grow lots of different crops as well as different trees from say like the apple seeds. This is just various machines and things like that. So we've got a stone oven for cooking stuff, fermenter, I'll show you that in a minute. You might be able to hear that in the background actually. Various ores that you'll be needing. You turn the ores into bars, and I'll show you that in a little while. Like here for instance, you've got tin bars, copper, iron, but then you can also change them into rods and plates and things like that, and you use those to make other machines. So it's all about resource gathering and building more and more machines, and that one's just a miscellaneous. You can also type in things like, there's the basic torch. It's kind of like the traditional medieval torch with a coal and a stick that will burn. And also on here you can go to the crafting. This shows you what you can craft at the moment based on what you've got in this particular inventory or stockpile. So I can make 4 wooden planks. Each one requires 1 log. You'll be familiar with that if you've played Minecraft. So you can just craft those over here, or just craft 1 or 10 at a time. And there's that one. Then there's the colonists themselves. You can bring up information here. It's a bit sparse at the moment, but there'll be more information here. So you've got the 4 colonists that you start off with. So that's a brief look at the stockpile. So the game itself is kind of based on my Minecraft mod Simulcraft, but also lots of other games ideas thrown in as well. So think of like Minecraft with tons of mods installed, Simulcraft, and a couple of other indie games that have come out recently. Yeah. So the first thing you'll need to do is get a water supply and a food supply going. That's done early on in the game by craft. You actually start off with one of these pumps, so everything's got like a little user interface to show you what it's doing. So when the water runs low, somebody will just come along and start pumping away manually on this pump, and it will go into this tank. So these tanks will hold any kind of liquid. In this case it's holding water. Eventually the water underground here will run out, and you'll have to move the pump to somewhere else to carry on the water supply. As well as that, you'll need food, of course, so that's done over here. Gwendoline Plunder is currently hanging around at the farm. So this is the Crop Farmer 2000, a very basic box that you craft, and you place it down, and the green light there lights up and it beeps when one of the plants need watering, or one needs harvesting. It's just hanging around as well. So you can see these are tomato plants. If you hover, well, if you look at them and look at the bottom of the screen, it tells you how grown they are and what they produce and things like that. So that'll just, it won't actually grow the farm, it'll just alert the colonists that something needs tending to. And again, it has a user interface, so you can choose what kind of crop. At the moment there's only 2, but there'll be lots later on. You can also change the radius, how big the farm gets. So you want to do this kind of, you want to kind of manage it so that you don't have a massive farm straight away, because you're going to create a lot of produce, and it's all going to rot before you can eat it. So you want to start off small and gradually increase it as you go. And you can see the size it's going to take before you actually build it. So that's a very small farm. Enough. That's plenty enough for 4 colonists. So another thing you'll need is wood. There's no trees on this planet whatsoever. So you start off with, I think, 1 seed. I might change that. You start off with an apple seed, so you can grow an apple tree with apples. And oh, there's one just fallen off the tree there. So they'll pick up the apples when they fall down, and then you can either just use them as a food source, or you can get the seeds from them to grow more apples. And here's the Tree Farmer 2000, the basic model. Again, similar sort of thing. You choose what kind of tree you want to grow. At the moment there's just apple. You can show the size that this tree farm is going to take up, as before. So you can sort of fit it into where you want the various bits to be. Just turn that off. And then you've got this option here of harvesting fruit or harvesting the logs, so it just depends what you actually need. I've set that to harvest logs now, so it's making that beeping noise. So that's alerting one of the colonists, the guy with the chopping axe, to come down and chop a tree down. There we go, logs and apples and everything. So the game's got like proper physics engine, so apples do fall from the trees. It's still beeping here because all these trees are ready for chopping down. They have to grow full 100% before you'll actually chop a tree down. Hey, there we go, lots of logs and apples. So the other colonists will help out as well. They'll pick up the logs and pick up the apples and put them into the stockpile over there. I think that hit him on his head. And that's the last of the trees. Those 3 aren't mature enough yet, so they're just picking up the apples and stuff. So it's still beeping. Let's turn that off. So some of the other machines I've got, this is a very basic one that you start off with. They start off like very primitive machines, and then you gradually build more and more complex machines that help the colonists survive. So this is just a basic composter. So any of the food that does rot, you can actually put it into the composter and it will create compost, as the name suggests. And then you can use the compost to extend the farm size. So this is the compost itself. Again, the plants also need water, and you can see this one's a bit dry. The crop farmer will alert them when it needs watering, and hopefully they won't die. So once you've got like lots of ores, and I'll explain where that comes from in a minute, you obviously smelt them down. Before you can do that though, this is the forge for smelting the ore down. That's made of bricks, as you can see, but to make bricks you need sand and clay, and you put the sand and clay to make a kind of soft brick, and then pop that into the oven here. This is the stone oven. It cooks food, but as well as that it cooks bricks. So you get the bricks, make a forge from that, and then you put various ores in. You'll see on this one it's got an extra bit down at the bottom. These are all the kind of recipes that the machine or the the apparatus will do. Got a bit of coal in here, it's just waiting for various things. So I could put sand in here and it'll make glass, and all you do is just put a tick next to that box there, and various other recipes that this will do. I just heard another beep. Yeah, the crop farmer is beeping now. Probably needs some water for these plants. So as soon as the alerts sounded, somebody will go over and get some water out of that tank there. Gwendoline Plunder is doing that. Here she comes. Don't spill any. So there we go. Watering the plants. So yeah, they'll use up obviously more water during the day while the sun's out. And where is the sun? Lens flares, of course, got to do those. So this is the another machine, a rolling mill. And what this will do is turn any of the iron bars and copper bars and things like that into panels, plates and rods as well. So what you'll do with all the rods and things like that, they're in a kind of in the recipe for making more complex machines. So for instance, electricity, which I'll cover in a minute I think, these pylons here are made of wood planks and a couple of copper rods at the top there. So you make the copper rods in here, and obviously the wood to go with it. So some of the machines are mechanically cranked, like this one for instance, and the basic pump over here. But other more advanced machines will need electricity. So this is where the electricity is currently made in this steam turbine. There'll be obviously lots more ways to make electricity as well. So this takes in coal and water, turns it into steam and generates electricity. I've got 1.27 amp hours in here, so it's got internal storage as well. As soon as that drops low, the turbine will switch on and start generating. So then you'll put one of these pylons next to the generator, and it will connect up to other pylons like it has done here. So each pylon can have two connectors. So that one connects to that one, and that one connects over to this one, and another one over there. So you just place them where you like, and they'll all sort of connect up to one another. Also, you can see on the ground a cable going from the pylon itself to the actual unit. This is an area light. You start off with basic medieval style torches, which I'll show in a minute, but later on, once you get the electricity, you can then have electric lighting, which is much more kind of efficient and things. So I'll show you the medieval torches, the ones you start off with. They're just basically wood and coal. So you'll notice they're not actually burning at the moment. What they'll do is at sunset they'll go round and light these up, and then at sunrise they'll put them out again, because they do actually consume the coal. So once the coal's been burnt, they'll just like fall on the floor and disappear. So not a really good way of lighting the world up. It does look nice, but it's not very efficient. So that's why the area lights are the next step up once you've got electricity. Just some other machines over here I've been working on. This is a fermenter. So again, the bio waste, if you have any rotten food, the bio waste from it can be put into here instead of the composter, and then you just add some water and it makes biomass, which is this green sludgy stuff in the tank. So that gets pumped into an adjacent tank, and then over here you can hear the machinery going. This one's an electric machine, that one's just a chemical reaction. Whereas this one's electric. It's a still, or like a distiller, so it takes the biomass from the other machine and converts it into biofuel, which you can see just trickling into this tank here. So the biofuel will be used for combustion engines and that sort of thing. So not very clean at all, but there'll be other ways of generating electricity as well, like solar and wind and things like that. So you'll need a lot of electricity for this next machine. It's a tractor beam, and before I explain what this does, I just have to explain the whole mining process. So the mining doesn't take place underground, at least not yet anyway. It may develop or not. What will happen is asteroids will fall from the sky. You can see them on the horizon there, and you have to walk out here and select them to be mined, and one of the colonists will come out and mine them. So it's a bit laborious at first going out to these meteorites and mining them. So there's a better way. Once you've got electricity and a lot of it, you can craft one of these tractor beams, and these will sort of do the hard work for you. They'll actually tractor the meteorites back to your base, and then you can go ahead and mine them there instead. So it saves you a lot of time and trouble. So I'll just switch this on and just give you a quick demo of this. So just activate that, and the dish rotates round to find an asteroid, a meteorite, and then the tractor beam fires up. Just picking up that one way over there. So that's about a mile away, so it's a long walk, and there's no transport. There will be later on, obviously. So it's bringing it in. So once it brings it in, it'll then bring it down like that, and then just drop it. There you go. So that saves you walking way out there. Obviously it uses a ton of electricity to do this, so you do need a good supply. And then you can go ahead and just mine that particular asteroid or meteorite. There's quite a few that drop. It's not like you get one a day. So the generator's now kicked in because of the power that's been pulled from it. So I've done the day-night cycle as well, so the sun will actually set and it'll get really dark. Just turn this off. Might not have enough lights for might not have enough electricity for the lights. Just turn that off. So these are the area lights. As you can see there, you just light up an area using electricity. They turn on automatically at sunset and off again at sunrise. They don't use as much power though, so you can easily run. I've got about 3 or 4 for this size. Over this side it's lit up with the torches, so they don't put off as much light, but they are fairly cheap and nice looking. So there's no kind of monsters yet, so quite alright out here at night. Also you'll notice a lack of housing. There's no buildings at all yet. So for the buildings I was thinking along the lines of having like a space colony prefab house where you craft the parts of the house, the walls, windows and things, find a nice space for them, say like here, and then they'll actually build the building itself. After that I was going to have it so that you can designate it a certain use, so it would be a house or a some sort of social building like a space tavern or an industrial room for where all the machinery goes. So there you go, that's all I've got so far. It's a start. I think I've got a definite game here. It's a game I want to play and nobody seems to have written it yet. As you can see, it has aspects of other games, but that's how games are made. So I hope you've enjoyed this little sneak peek at what I'm up to at the moment. I'll post some more videos as I make new stuff. So anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll keep you posted on any further developments of this game. Kind of just doing it in my spare time at the moment, but it's coming along nicely, and I'm enjoying writing it. there you go. Hope you like what you saw so far. This is sort of like a game that I really want to play, but nobody's written it yet, so it's down to me to write it. It's sort of borrows off the whole Minecraft survival thing, and certainly crafting and things like that. But also the tech mods that you can get for Minecraft are sort of influenced by that, with electricity and processing ores and that sort of thing. So I'm throwing that into it as well. And of course, my mod itself, Simicraft. There's a lot of that in it. It's basically based on that, but obviously changed around a little bit here and there. So for instance, they don't have actual jobs, just tasks need to be done, and whoever's closest in not doing anything, they'll actually do the tasks, as long as they've got the right tools for the job and that. There's also a few other games that have kind of influenced me as well. There are a lot of indie games coming out at the moment. There's one called RimWorld, which is sort of a top-down retro space colony simulator sort of strategy. I've been playing that quite a lot. It's quite addictive, building up the colony and trying not to kill them too much. There's a similar one called Factorio. That may mainly focus on like machinery, like getting machines to do all sorts of various things by wiring them up right and things like that. So I've sort of borrowed off those two games as well. Well, not borrowed, but inspired by. Because I mean, Minecraft itself was inspired from about 3 or 4 different games. It wasn't just a brand new thing that just happened. There's a couple of, well, at least 2 or 3 games that I know of that it's based on. So that's how games are made anyway. So unlike like RimWorld and Factorio, I didn't want a kind of top-down view. I tried it with like an isometric at first, and then I went and tried a top-down view, and it didn't really work. So I prefer, like, for this sort of game, the first-person perspective. It kind of really like throws you into the game and gets you involved. I think you feel more part of the game. So I'll post more videos of the game on here, showing any kind of development things, just to keep you up to date with how it's going. I'm hoping it's going to turn into a game. I mean, you can't really say right now. It just might fizzle out and not turn into anything. But right now, I think there's a game in it somewhere. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, generic catchphrase.